Cry terror, cry tough, cry vengeance, cry of the city, a cry in the night. And there sure was a lot of crying in the beloved country of noir. I'm Eddie Muller, a.k.a. the town crier here in Noir Alley. This weekend's movie, Cry Danger, was not the first film noir to have cry in its title, and it was far from the last, but it was, without a doubt, the funniest. Credit that to writer William Bowers, a former newspaperman who enlivened a lot of scripts with his special gift for smart-mouth dialogue, especially when he was cracking wise in a crime thriller. In Noir Alley, beleaguered men and women tend to fight back with a steady stream of sarcasm rather than their fists, and Bill Bowers gave them some of the punchiest dialogue ever. The star of Cry Danger, Dick Powell, was one of the best wisecrackers in noir.
Now, will you put that thing away?
I don't think we're going to play with this anymore.
But I'll confess, in the early stages of my fascination with these films, I felt Powell was a weak sister to such studly nighthawks as Humphrey Bogart and Robert Mitchum, or even Dana Andrews and Richard Conte. The guy was a song and dance man, after all, whose name never appeared in print without the word lightweight floating nearby. But as I got older, I steadily developed an appreciation for Powell's style and savvy. He was nobody's notion of swaggering machismo. He was more believable than that. Just a regular guy trying to negotiate a nasty world with nothing but a sharp suit and a snappy line of patter. Powell's transformation began when he played Philip Marlowe in RKO's 1944 hit Murder My Sweet, showing a 5 o'clock shadow and a snarly attitude that was a long way from 42nd Street. In no time, he'd made an impact on the genre, starring in Cornered, Johnny O'Clock, To the Ends of the Earth, and the masterful Pitfall, which we'll be showing here in Noir Alley in June. By the end of the 40s, Powell's ambition extended behind the camera. He talked a couple of businessmen out of enough money to produce his own low-budget feature, the first and only movie made by Olympic Pictures. Powell loved the doctoring job Bowers had done on Pitfall, so he hired him to adapt a fairly routine revenge yard by Jerome Cady. The Cry Danger script was tailored precisely to budget, staying in the downtown Los Angeles area known as Bunker Hill and keeping the action small scale, confined to bar rooms, bookie joints, and a wonderfully seedy trailer park.
You drinking that stuff so early?
Listen, doll girl, when you drink as much as I do, you gotta start early.
Powell also saved some dough by getting a first-timer to direct. Not that Robert Parrish didn't have a great reputation, but it was for film editing, not directing. He'd won an Oscar for cutting the 1947 boxing classic Body and Soul, and he also edited the 1949 Best Picture winner, All the King's Men, both directed by Robert Rossen. But then, thanks to Dick Powell, he left the editing room for the director's chair. In his maiden effort, Parrish shows great ease in his staging, letting the actors move naturally through scenes, many of which were shot in actual Bunker Hill locations. Actor Richard Erdman has perhaps his best role ever as Powell's dipso sidekick, DeLong.
Who's this girl we're gonna meet?
Wife of a friend of mine.
Sounds like a dirty trick, but I'm for it.
Erdman recalled that on the first day of production, a scene in the trailer park where he and Powell first encounter co-star Gene Porter, everybody was primed to deliver some of the script's funniest lines. Only nothing happened. Powell slowly turned to Parrish and whispered, "You better say action, or we're going to be here all day." By the time shooting had finished, Parrish and Erdman were fast friends, and they'd remained so the rest of Parrish's life. This was a good picture for a first-time director to cut his teeth on. The leading man was also a sympathetic producer who had little ego, by Hollywood standards, and he didn't screw around. Bill Bowers' script was a delicate but dynamic balance of revenge drama and jokey humor, and Parrish let the naturally funny cast play it casually. But this is also a pivotal film in the genre. It showed the embittered noir anti-hero of the 1940s moving from the darkness into the light, both figuratively and literally. Cry Danger is sunnier and funnier than most film noir, although it still packs a nice little punch. Powell's face-offs with William Conrad, for example, are memorably mean-spirited. Now, the plot may be routine, an ex-con out for revenge on the crooks who framed him, but Bowers' crackerjack script, Joe Bierach's terrific location photography, and sharp performances from the entire cast make for a thoroughly entertaining film. From 1951, enjoy Cry Danger.